and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
Traditional. good morning, everyone. I'd like to bring to order this Downtown Development Authority Board Member meeting on Wednesday, May 13th at 8:30 a.m. First order of our business, approval of the February 11th, 2026 minutes. Are there any corrections or comments to be had?
Move approval.
Support.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Next is the approval of the April financials.
Mr. Borg is
Good
joining us.
morning.
Well, good morning.
My name is Christian Borg. I've been with the city 17 years. I came from economic development, and now I'm working in fiscal services. I'll be replacing Tricia Chapman moving forward. The financials for, I believe, March and February are on page 7 of your agenda packet, and I believe the financials for April were distributed yesterday. I just asked for a little grace because I'm 2 weeks on the job, and I'll be learning all things DDA in the coming weeks and months. But certainly glad to answer any questions.
Are there any questions? Yes.
Just a quick question, if I was reading it accurately. I think on the March statements, it showed that administration the actuals were a little higher than budgeted, and debt service was a little lower than budgeted. Just wondering if we had context for.
You're looking at the March statement?
Yes.
Yeah.
He asked for grace.
Or I'll punt to Tim.
I can speak to the administration. That does not incorporate any reimbursements for Art Prize. So those happen throughout the year, and then we'll also, the Greenway expenditures will also reimburse.
Just a monthly timing.
Yeah, just a casual thing. And then on the debt service, I believe, so we're just below budget, if I'm looking at the same piece you are.
I see that, yes.
Yeah, so Christian, I don't know if you can speak to that. I mean,
I cannot.
Line of work, okay.
I know that there were debt service payments made in February and March. That's about the extent of my knowledge.
okay. We can follow up though.
Okay, just curious, because that, I would assume is fairly static.
Generally, yeah, it should be. There are sometimes fees associated with the payments, but yeah, they shouldn't fluctuate too much.
I'll be glad to follow up on that question.
Any other questions? So, Counselor, do we need to approve March and April statement D?
Sure, and you can do it jointly if you'd like.
Yes, please. I think the statement D in the packet would be for February and March, and then statement D1 for February and March, and then statement D for April through April 30.
Move their adoption.
Okay.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's all the grace you get.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very
Christian,
much.
you did a great job.
Nice to meet you all.
We're glad to have you, by the
Thank
way.
you.
It's good to see you.
Thanks, Christian.
All right, that motion carries. We are now at GR Forward Update Funding Request. Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, I'm going to carry this one as Mr. Miller is out today, but in your packet you had a memo summarizing sort of the action here. Just to kind of get to the point, the ask is for an additional not to exceed amount of $385,000 to fund the GR Forward Update Initiative. So back in December, we asked you to approve an initial amount before the scope was finalized. So now that we've had a couple months to work with the team, have a refined scope that was included in the packet, and this request to the DDA, as well as a request that will go to the TIFA at their next meeting, would fully fund the initiative. I think also in there was a schedule to kind of show you where we are. Work is underway. Team will be back in June to have sort of an initial kickoff with the community as well as a steering committee meeting. And we look forward to that initiative getting going and having it wrapped up by the end of the year.
Any questions?
This gets us all the way through the end of the project?
Yes. Yep. And it also includes a contingency of 10% just to be safe.
Sure.
All right, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries as well. Next, Grand River Economic Opportunity Initiative. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, right. Mr. Peacock.
Mr. Peacock.
Good morning. How are you all? I will also ask for a little bit of grace as well, so please be patient with me. As this is my first time standing in front of you, so we've been working on something a little quietly, just with a strong partner of ours in the community, and it's specifically the Grand River Economic Opportunity Initiative. Just to add a couple points to the memo that you all have in front of you, this initiative is to create opportunity on-ramps to entrepreneurs, right? As we could sit and talk about what we think a revitalized river and even a downtown would look like, we want to give entrepreneurs the opportunity to create that platform for those things that we aren't thinking about. And I think that this is a great opportunity by partnering with a strong and proven ESO like Start Garden and utilizing their platform. It would give us a great opportunity to give entrepreneurs an on-ramp. It would give us a great opportunity to connect entrepreneurs to what we believe opportunities may be coming in the future and what we don't identify as opportunities, but give them also an opportunity to be innovative in what potential on-ramps could be for this community. Right now, these opportunities are not readily visible and really just trying to figure out the connecting points to them. So this initiative is pairing to place marketing, programming, and implementation with those entrepreneurs. It's a 24-month initiative that we will roll forward. Staff will definitely report back about the progress of the initiative with Start Garden. And what this will produce is multiple layers of economic opportunities based in retail, food and beverage, activation, maintenance, and potential recreation-based businesses as well. Also labeled river opportunities, right? So we got a whole bunch of cute little names for stuff already. But this ensures that our river investment doesn't just improve space, it builds economic participation and long-term value, and most importantly, it's an opportunity to utilize one of our most underutilized assets, and that is the Grand River itself. So with that said, I am standing in front of you with the specific asks. We have $45,000 already allocated to this initiative, and we are asking for the DDA to provide another max up to $100,000 to get this initiative rolling and provide 24 months for entrepreneurs within our community.
Question?
I just have a comment. So I think work like this is great, but it reminds me a little bit of this sort of 90s urban vision of making everything every ground floor space in America retail and hoping it would produce vibrant retail operations. Turns out you need customers before you can have businesses. So my concern about the river remains, as much as we boost the river and as much as I boost the river and as much as I love the vision of the river, I do not think it's complete yet. And I don't think it's complete in terms of public investment. And specifically, I think we all have to be mindful that the central challenge of a river is it's a barrier. There aren't two sides to it unless you can walk on water. There's one side to it. So I think we need to be thinking about more opportunities to cross the river, and I know those conversations are going on, but I also think that I've spent a lot of time since I've become mayor, every city I go to that's got a river, I go look. And I go look at the successful things that are going on. So the bottom picture, for example, reminds me a lot of the waterfront in the riverfront in, it was either Genoa or Turin, I'm trying to remember which, it's all a little bit of a blur. But when I was in Italy, that looks great. But you'll notice there's a whole lot of pedestrians milling along the front there. And feeding those businesses, but also those businesses are smack dab against, I'm assuming that's a river to the left, although there's a white line, I'm not quite clear.
Are you talking about the far one at the
far
bottom?
right.
So that's actually the DeQuinder Cut within Detroit, Michigan. So there's no river right there with that one.
Okay, well, if there were a river, I mean, that looks like a picture that there might be a river to the left. But again, in cities where that's successful, the structures are very, very proximate to where you want the activity to happen. And so that's one thing I worry about or think about. But I also think, again, I'm sorry to be a one theme song person, but actually getting people on the river. And that's nothing that any individual entrepreneur is going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to come along and say, hey, I've got a pile of money for a boathouse. Not for people we're going to be attracting with a $100,000 program. We're going to be attracting small startups who are going to be able to fit themselves into the environment that we've built. But the question is that environment going to allow them to succeed or not? So I do think long-term we have to be thinking, how can we make structures around the river that will get people into the river and that will, simply making a nice greenway, I don't think is sufficient. I think it's necessary, but I don't think it's sufficient. So I think we have to long-term be thinking about that if we actually want these kinds of businesses to succeed. We got it. I think we need more public investment in the things that will place make for these kinds of businesses.
Yes.
If I could ask a follow-up on the mayor's comments, which is, this is further from the proposal that's on the table, but you said the vision's incomplete, trying to fully understand what a complete vision looks like in your minds. It sounds like you want more bridges over the river, more storefronts, density of, I'm trying to unpack that.
Yeah, bottom left is a great example. No entrepreneur is going to build that, right? That is a cool structure. It's got a rooftop on top of it. It opens out onto whatever is out of the screen. So that's a very inviting space that might actually have multiple uses. I think more things that look like that. So I'm thinking about our 20-year vision.
That brutalist.
Pardon?
Hopefully not that brutalist.
Right.
I think it's cool.
We have enough brutalists around town.
Yeah, we do. So I mean, it's only brutalist on 7 of the 8 surfaces.
Right. Exactly.
But broadly speaking, I think if you're going to want to have successful retail, you sort of have to lay the table for it, whether that's enough people for the retail to succeed, or whether it's spaces they can utilize, whether there are other reasons people are going to be there. Because again, like if I want to see a beautiful sunset, I'm not going to the Grand River, right? I'm driving 35 miles to go to Lake Michigan. So there are limits to the river and there are challenges to the river.
Madrid.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Belknap Hill, it's got a pretty good sun.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about the Amway Madrid.
I just think, this is great, but we also have to be sensitive to the fact that we need to be leading or following up on this or being very sensitive to the feedback we get from our early entrepreneurs. And I suspect that we should be focusing on, and that'll be the downtown GR vision too, maybe, but I think necessary, what we did was we got rid of all the barrier walls for the river. That's awesome, right? The river now is physically, you can get to it now, which is 90% of the job. I just don't want us to not do the last 10%. And this is a patient project group, right? This is a group that can look decades in the future and do all of the structural stuff. But the private industry is not going to be able to do that, especially since we, the public, own a whole lot of that space. So that's all. That's a lot, but I just want to keep that in the forefront of our minds. I'm very urgent. I think this is a huge opportunity for us to make our river vibrant.
Yeah, and I would just maybe agree with what you're saying. I think engaging the entrepreneurs in the conversations to make sure things that we are building with public funds, that they are able then to capitalize on those opportunities.
That they're helpful.
And this will help to inform that.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I was at Grand Valley yesterday and looking across at what the river edge from the amphitheater is really impressive.
Yeah.
It's looking great.
Yeah, it's exciting.
We just need more of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a motion here that we need to?
It's definitely a recommendation at this
We have a
point.
recommendation. We need a motion.
I need a motion to approve the funding.
So moved.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Another question. So just to be clear, this is just for communications and marketing?
Around this, I mean, this seems like a great idea.
As well.
Programming as well.
Yeah, programming as well.
You have an idea?
Can I pitch my? So moved.
All right.
You'll be reporting back on it. I assume you've got 4 aims outlined, that there'll be some KPIs around those aims, so you'll be able to track what's working, what's not.
Yes.
Absolutely. Move adoption of the right.
We have a motion,
Second.
support. All right, any other comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Awesome, thank you.
We have a lot of motions, Mr. Kelly.
We do, we do.
Development support, 528 Bridge Street.
Yes, I'm gonna carry this one as well. 528 Bridge Street shown here on the map. This is the southeast corner of Seward and Bridge, old train depot. New owner is proposing to renovate it, primarily for their headquarters, but then also to renovate some of the commercial and office space in there. Outlined a lot of the details in the memo. The request is to, once again, go into an agreement with the Brownfield Authority so that they can capture, the owner can capture full brownfield to aid in the redevelopment. DDA is being asked to pass through 75% of the increment. So again, keep it in line with our policy. In addition to the building renovation, I think one of the important things for this is that it would include the completion of the sidewalk network. So currently this is where the sidewalk ends on Seward. For reference, that is just to the north of Area 9, the parking lot, which we think would be well used once the soccer stadium is up and running. So completing that sidewalk network is, I think, a key to this project. So DDA is being asked to enter into that agreement with the Brownfield to support the project and the public improvements. I'll add that this has gone all the way through the Brownfield as well as the city, so they fully approved it, but they are looking for DDA support as well.
If you could back up one slide.
Yep.
So I don't know how much conversation you're having with these folks, but a friendly ask for them might be the bottom red line there. There's potential for pedestrian connectivity through there to the, is it south? And then,
Yeah, right here.
and then if we can figure out a way to get across the train tracks, you actually pick up pedestrian connectivity to a big parking lot that's just off the screen
Yeah.
to the right and down. So I think that's a good long-term, in terms of actually getting customers out into Bridge Street. I say this having gone out to dinner there with the city manager a couple weeks ago. We walked that whole chunk, and there's limited ways for pedestrians to get out from some of those deeper parking lots and get onto Bridge Street.
Agreed. Yeah, we'd love to make a connection across the train tracks. There's some logistical challenges, but it's certainly something we're looking at.
Anybody else? All right, thank you. We have a motion?
Moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Wayfinding implementation funding request. We're not done with this wayfinding yet?
I say the same thing to myself.
I got lost coming here this morning.
Mark Miller actually asked me the other day, he said, "Did you think you'd still be working on wayfinding 6 years from the project kicked off?" And I said, "No, I don't think I did." Good morning, everybody. More wayfinding. Sort of want to outline 3 activities covered in the memo that you all have in front of you, which comprises the ask here today. So if you recall, this body a few months ago approved funding to advance phase 1 of phase 7 of the Skywalk update. So adding new signs to the Skywalk, updating signs that we've put out, just trying to generally improve the Skywalk pedestrian experience. As our contractor was mobilizing to complete that work, they realized they actually had capacity to do all of the work right now. And so to gain a little bit of efficiency, part of the ask today is to for the funding to complete that gap that exists between the phase 1 that's currently being mobilized and phase 2 that can be mobilized, so that all of the Skywalk updates can be done at once. Second ask is for the installation of additional signs around primarily the Market Street corridor. So as we were getting in the midst of deploying our wayfinding, turns out an amphitheater was going to be built, so it's a whole bunch of signs that we didn't deploy because we didn't know what construction was going to look like, and it really didn't make sense for us to do that. Now that the amphitheater is done, we're ready to put those signs in the ground, and so previously we had removed those from our scope of work and so did not pay for that to be done. Now we're ready to pay for that and those signs to be deployed. And then the third piece, also related to the amphitheater, is we're going to be updating a whole slew of signs. We actually already went through the process to identify those and work on the content. And so we know which signs, and we also know the content that's going to go on those signs, but we have a slew of signs we want to update, both for the amphitheater and the soccer stadium. So we're going to just do it all in one fell swoop. And so at the end of that, all of those signs will be directing pedestrians to both the amphitheater and the soccer stadium. The ask before you today is for an amount not to exceed $132,000, which includes a 10% contingency, sort of lumping all of these projects into one ask. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
One addition to what Melvin was saying, given amphitheater's opening on Friday, you may have noticed some of the temporary pedestrian signage that's up throughout downtown. So getting ahead of this, want to just make sure people knew how to get there.
Yeah.
Not that we expect that will be a huge challenge, but
I was going to ask, so those are temporary only?
yeah, I mean, they're permanent, I think, for the season, and we can leave them up as long as we need. But hopefully these can replace some of those.
Yeah. And they say soccer stadium on them too, so I think the intent is to keep them up through the opening of that asset as well.
Yes.
Continue to be a huge fan of the aesthetics of this program. I was curious if we could, assuming it's not a huge lift, add into our regular communications, whether it's the dashboard or whatever, utilization of the wayfinding. So we've got a couple of inputs from users, both QR codes, the interactive kiosks, just so that over time we kind of see what those trends are. They seem to be a standout. It's something we invested in. Just curious how they're being used.
Yeah, we'll have to look at what our tracking abilities are for the digital piece, but certainly if it's something we can track, I think we could probably build that into our dashboard, looking at you, Marion.
Any other questions or comments? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. You're still up, Mr. Elledge.
Still me. So before you is a request for a development liquor license for 53 Monroe Center. So for those of you who are paying extra attention, you might recognize that as the former House of Wine space on Monroe Center. So new owner in this space, doing a variety of upgrades, which includes lighting, expansion of a, quote, cold kitchen. So they'll be serving a little bit more food than was previously served at this location, as well as upgrades to the lounge area and then new equipment for better operations. There will also be a handful of full-time and part-time jobs created as part of this, though those numbers were not specified in the application. It's just me. There's nobody here representing the 1850 room here today. Oh, are you here?
I am here.
She is here. She told me she wasn't coming, but here she is. I'm happy to answer any questions. We have the owner here who may want to answer some other questions if you have them for her. Otherwise, entertain a motion to recommend this to the City Commission for consideration.
Any questions?
Should we meet the owner?
Sure.
And hear
Come on
about your location?
My name's Norma Gordon.
Do you want to go up front?
I can, yes, of course. That's okay. Hello, so my name is Norma Gordon. I am from the Grand Rapids area. I've been here my entire life. I've worked in hotel business for the last 17 years. I have owned a restaurant or two in the past. And I'm just in love with the Grand Rapids area. Obviously been here my whole life. So I've been looking for a business to do like wedding venue type of situation, but I haven't found anything. I've been looking for a couple years and then thought how wonderful it would be to be in the downtown Grand Rapids area, but never anticipated finding a building and came across it, and things just progressed quickly for me. We've signed the lease and done a lot of renovations, so now we're just waiting on liquor license to be approved to open. So, yeah, That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Any questions? Sounds great. Another place to have a drink.
Yeah, exactly. So full bar, cold kitchen, social lounge, and then there's a corporate family meeting space as well.
Awesome.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Can we move approval?
Thank you.
So moved.
Support.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion is approved.
Thank you so much.
Good luck. Fiscal year 27 budget presentation, Mr.
Mr. Staff, yeah. I will kick us off. And we'll point out we're just 2 minutes behind schedule, so we're still doing good. So budget season. As you all know, our fiscal year starts July 1 like the city, so we're right in the thick of things. I was at City Commission yesterday just giving them a preview of what is going to be recommended to you today. It'll go back to City Commission for approval, assuming you make a recommendation. That'll go next week, and then it will ultimately come back to you for adoption in June, which follows our typical schedule. So I'll jump right in and do some revenue overview. You may have noticed, and I think I've talked to most of you about it, but we did see a slight drop in tax increment revenue from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26. That was not because property values decreased, it was because we stopped capturing the Kent County senior in vets millage and seniors vets, and I think there was a jail millage as well. So reduction in the amount captured, and that was based on the TIF plan that was approved back in 2016. But now that that has been incorporated, we do still expect to see the increment grow. So we're projecting about a 2% growth for the year ahead. That's for the local tax. For the non-tax fund, as you know, that's primarily made up of parking revenue, and then we have some periodic spikes based on land sales. For the year ahead, we do expect to see some pretty good growth in the non-tax fund. About 12% from where we were, where we expect to end this year. And if you just isolate the parking revenue, seeing pretty significant growth there. Partly that's rates, partly based on the agreement we now have for Area 3 that we amended with the city earlier this year. We are also collecting revenue on the lot adjacent to Studio Park that we sold to the Lokes, but based on that sale, we still operate the parking lot. So all that to say, some continued growth in the parking revenue. I should add, going back to this chart here, we will also start to see land payments for the soccer stadium come through from Grand Action. So all of that is going into the non-tax fund growth. You all know about the amount of work and lift that the DDA does each year. So just kind of an overview of some of our committed obligations for the fiscal year ahead. We continue with our gain sharing agreements for the taxing units. This is the last year that we're at 15%. Next year we will step up to 20%, and then it goes to 25% in FY33, and that'll stay in place for the remainder of the TIF plan, which is currently in place. We also still have, I think, 8 agreements for tax increment finance reimbursements. Those go to developers for development projects that have occurred over the years. We have paid off the first phase of the Studio Park. And I think 2 others fell off this year, so we are starting to pay those down, which is good to see, and that's why in fiscal year 28 we'll see a little bit of a reduction. And then we spoke about this earlier, but the debt service obligations, Ionia near the downtown market, we continue to have payments on that for until 2032, and then Lion Square in the amphitheater will be in our budgets for a while now. Overview of some of the projects. Staff will dive into some more details, but this just gives you a sense of where expenditures are going. Obviously, capital projects cost more than some of our economic development programs. That's not a measure of priority. This just gives you a sense of where the funds are going toward. And then, obviously, with GR Forward going on, we're calling this very much a continuation budget. There's a lot of things that are in motion right now that we want to see through with the plan update and sort of review of the priorities and projects that'll kind of chart the course for the next 3, 5, 10 years. And then also a reminder that the DDA doesn't do all the work that we do here alone. The improvement district has a heavy lift on the maintenance side, a lot of investment happening currently in the Monroe North Tifa area. And then of course we continue to incubate the River Network and Art Prize. Probably the priority this year, you'll hear Andy talk about this more shortly, is spending down the $55 million grant that DGRI received for the Grand River Greenway. And so a lot of work is also happening in that regard. So just wanted to give you a quick overview of where things are, and then staff will give you some highlights on the projects. And Andy, I think you are up.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you. You guys got warmed up on river stuff during James's item. Let's keep it going here. Just a reminder that Goal 1 really about reinforcing the Whitewater Initiative and the dam removal project, and then also establishing not just downtown but the city as a hub in the regional trail system. So how are we softening the edges, making more access and safer for people to get down to the water's edge? And then how are we not connecting not just the downtown riverfront sites, but regionally with a non-motorized trail system? There's a lot of work happening right now to advance on that goal. I'm not going to go through all of these projects, but just wanted you to, just a reminder that the work that we're doing in downtown is situated in a increasingly regional push to establish the backbone trail along the Grand River from Lowell to Lake Michigan. Compliments to Al, Administrator Vandenberg's team, who is taking a leadership role from basically number 7 to the east there, along with Plainfield and Ada Township and a few other partners. I'm going to focus primarily on some stuff that's happening in downtown, but to Tim's point in a minute, we're effectively in probably one of the largest one-time investments in outdoor recreation access and improvement, parks and trails, and we're going to hit peak construction sometime this summer towards wrapping a lot of stuff up by the end of the year. One thing I wanted to do, just hit a few highlights and give you some status update, but let's remember where we were at on some of these sites too. This was the museum a couple of years ago. I'm sure you've all been looking at it over the last few months. The DDA was some of the first money in on this project with a few other partners around design and engineering and all that good stuff to get the concept together. And the museum right now wrapping up this project with a significant grant from the Greenway. This will probably be done in sometime here in the next few weeks. Going north up to Canal Park. This is a project that the Monroe North TIFA has really taken a leadership role on, but currently under construction, updating what was previously a little bit of a tired riverfront park space, but really starting to emerge based on some plans that were developed as a much more inviting riverfront connection there. And then I want to point out some of the access in front of the residential and the businesses in the area. And also the connection point there for folks at the river's edge with the deck. You all talked about structures a moment ago. A couple of things happening in this is the pavilion that's getting constructed across the street from City Built and Field and Fire. That's a direct learning from the COVID times and the work we did with those businesses to get outside, understand how to use riverfront space differently, not only from a public health situation, but also supporting local businesses. So good to see that that outdoor experiment turning into a permanent structure on the river's edge that will help support those businesses across the street. Similar thing at Linear, some adaptation of the patio space that was out front. This, by the end of this summer, will be one of the best places amongst a few to sit out on the river and enjoy a dinner and a glass of wine. Moving to the north here, so Canal Park down here, down south. The Leonard to Ann Trail, something that we have talked about for a number of years around this table, finally getting under construction here with the trail pushing north across some city property, across the 1615 property that DGRI acquired last year to help make the project possible, and then wrapping around the old Baker Furniture Building up to Ann Street. There in the lower picture here, Ann Street going here, you can see the connectivity of the existing trail into Riverside Park. So a really important connection for getting downtown connected to the Creston neighborhood, Riverside Park, the White Pine Trail, and everything that the county and our township partners are working on to the east. Largely funded, well, not largely, the Greenway Grant has a significant contribution to this. One thing we're paying attention to moving forward on the DDA side of things are underpasses at street and railroad connections. So that's something that's in the long-term plan for this corridor. And we'll be paying attention to that, particularly as the city and Grand Rapids Whitewater get into the upper reach design and thinking about how things work in the channel up there. And then the property formerly known as 201, if you all remember, I don't know, 24 months ago, a pretty gray space. This is what we were doing on that property. DDA first in on helping to create a plan and a concept for that, and then utilizing the Greenway dollars to come alongside Grand Action and the amphitheater in the city and other partners, the CAA, to really transform this space into something quite remarkable. Rick mentioned we were over there at Consumers yesterday looking out, and it's pretty special. This is where the garbage trucks used to be parked, and now those are seat steps down to enjoy the riverfront there. This is phase one of that's under construction right now. That'll be done by the end of this year. This budget does include some dollars opportunistically if we want to advance on some design here. The city's getting some infrastructure out of the way here, or if things start to happen over at the former Charlie's Crab site and we want to get in a position to build that underpass, we are holding some dollars to advance some design and keep things moving there to help support the completion of this connection fully from Fulton to Wealthy Street. And then just one more trail connection a little bit further south of Wealthy Street, Oxford Trail, rehabilitation and construction well underway now. This is a really important connection to the neighborhoods on the southeast and southwest side, to everything that we're building just north of that in the Market Street corridor. So again, another project that will wrap up by the end of this year. And just a couple more things. Ongoing conversation with Grand Rapids Whitewater, who is permitted and expects to get into the water this summer. They're still working through their financing strategy, recently secured some additional federal funding. So we continue to talk to them about what the DDA contribution might look like moving forward. So we put a couple of placeholders in the forecast. You might see that in the budget as we continue those conversations with Whitewater to make sure that they're successful in completing the lower reach. And then Tim mentioned the incubation of the Grand River Network. Ongoing project, largely focused on coordination and alignment of a lot of these partners to the river corridor, and specifically around developing an operations, maintenance, and management strategy that we'll tell you a little bit more about later this year. So largely this budget for Goal 1 focused on finishing what we've started, much of that by the end of this year, and staying in a position to help keep a few things moving as we get past this major construction push. Any questions on Goal 1?
How did the construction projects fare in the flooding?
All things considered, especially with what we were watching up north, very good. Still managing some things on the public museum site, and a little bit of disruption at around the amphitheater, but all manageable, and everything remains on schedule to be completed.
Great.
Any other questions? All great projects. And they're occurring in our lifetime.
They said it couldn't be done.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next up, just quickly on Goal 2, I'll just kick it off with a reminder that the majority of the funding in this goes toward the tax increment reimbursements for the development projects. Again, there are 8 remaining, but we do also have quite a bit of activation planning going on for the year ahead. So I think Lauren is going to walk us through some of those initiatives.
Yes, good morning. The other piece of Goal 2 is the neighborhood quality of life. This year we're doing a big focus on fresh food access specifically. We are going into our third year at the Downtown Community Garden, which is 55 individual residents and their families growing fresh food for themselves. We are also working with Fulton Street Market for their Fulton Street Food Recovery Program. This is formerly known as the Gleaning Program in Hartside, where they take food, produce that isn't sold at the market, and they take it to Hartside and give it away, no questions asked, to anyone who needs it. We are also funding and working with Equitable for their Good Food Delivery Program. This will be the second year we're doing this. This is a winter initiative to deliver produce directly to residents in Hartside, directly to their doorstep. And we're also I'm working with Mobile GR and the property owners at the Weston and Commerce parking ramp. They have an unused green space on top of their building, and we're seeing what the feasibility is to potentially turn that into a community garden as well. And those are our initiatives for this upcoming year. If anyone has any questions.
Any questions? Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lauren. Next up, mobility strategy. I'm going to carry this one. I'll play Mark Miller for a couple minutes here. Again, a lot of focus on finishing things that are underway. So the Division Avenue realignment, that's in partnership with the city who received that talent grant. That's the removal of the Ionia segment up in Monroe North. It is pretty redundant with the street. So looking to finish design on that. Continued investments in streetscape, so obviously trash cans, street furnishings. We do continue to have funding to wrap up the Division Avenue project. It was completed between Fulton and Michigan. Wayfinding, Melvin talked to you about a little while ago, so that stuff will be underway in fiscal year 27. And then continued partnership with Disability Advocates of Kent County, just to make sure that the projects that we're designing and bringing forth are accessible to all users. And I think those are the highlights of Goal 3, but happy to take any questions on those.
Well, I don't want to beat you up too much on this, but if you look at the disability picture and then look at the Division Avenue, Fulton to Michigan picture, I challenge you to figure out where you would put a bike on that Fulton to Michigan theoretical bike lane. You got two choices. One is you run it by buildings, in which case people walking out of the buildings interact with bikes going 25 miles an hour, or people getting off buses get to interact with bikes going 25 miles an hour. The only sensible way to also, if you're blind, how are you supposed to tell when you're in the bike lane and when you're on the sidewalk? There's no tactile division between those. That is a major problem as far as I'm concerned. I think we need to get somebody out there with a concrete saw, rip out that yellow line, and put in a tactile division before that's possibly viable for anybody with disabilities. And I also think that we need raised areas. I think the bikes should go by the street, but you need essentially a speed hump every time you've got a bus stop, so that you're signaling to the bikes that they need to be careful because someone might be coming off of a bus. So I think you need design features that are going to tell bicycles how to behave there, or you're going to wind up with real serious problems or with no one using it. I think those are your two realistic options with that current design. I have no idea how that design happened. I asked for pictures of it. I made those criticisms and it went in anyway. That yellow line is about 50% gone already.
It was restriped last week.
Well, okay, yeah. Great. It lasted 3 weeks.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I just want to remind everyone that the DDA's investment in this project was in the streetlights. We had a lot of these same conversations with the city, and so yeah, we're right there with you, and are happy to help carry the flag to help that be redesigned so it's better used.
Do we know anybody at the city that could have?
I was going to ask the mayor.
I could fill this room with people who are not responsible for this.
Yeah.
Well, Mayor, I've bent your ear about this project as well and how Division turned out, and that we do have an ordinance that says you can't ride bikes on sidewalks.
Right.
So,
which is routinely not enforced or followed.
Yeah. Well, but then to put that line, in my opinion, needs to be removed as well. Right. But I'm always thinking about how do we prevent this from happening again. and the role that the DDA has played in doing enhancements. I do wonder, especially now with this new city engineer, if maybe you can convene Tim and some folks from his team and city staff and say, how do we be more proactive before bids go out and designs are complete to make sure that this doesn't happen? And in my opinion, they should get out there and try to fix some of the things that look ridiculous on this.
And the GR Forward is an opportunity for us to actually have a comprehensive, consistent, I mean, what I've been saying a lot recently is we need continuity and consistency. That's really important.
Even
I do think we
even the
have leverage
street light poles are
Say that again.
the
what?
street light poles. And then somebody put a historic light on top of the huge street light. It's mind-boggling.
You're talking about the highway grade intersection poles.
Highway, yes.
That was another.
Also not us, right?
Not us, not us.
Probably
That's the theme of this, is not my, I didn't do it.
Project.
We were going to use a different picture, I think.
It's,
But to the
anyway,
mayor's point, I do think the DDA, we're always asked for money. And
yeah.
I do think that we hold some leverage. We just need to incorporate that into our approval process.
Yeah.
Because
Right. I mean,
I agree.
right. I mean,
and
you've
Mayor-
got good planning people with good planning instincts on your staff, and like we need to make sure that the right voices get heard when this is getting planned.
And Mayor, just so you know, several years ago when we were also frustrated with the city engineer about something different, I actually asked him, I'm like, maybe the DDA needs to hire our own engineer so that we can challenge them, or at least come to the table with the alternative. So anyway, just know that there's been frustration around this table for a long time, but this really, in my opinion, takes the cake.
Well, and again, the thought experiment I've been saying recently is if I want to build my dream house, I don't hire an engineer to build it, to draw it. I hire an architect. The engineer comes in second to make sure that what the architect drew won't collapse. Engineers' central job is to make sure things don't break. The question of how you do visioning, if you leave that to an engineer, you're asking them, it's like asking an attorney to do heart surgery. They can be very smart, talented people, but it's not their job description.
Well, we're going to add this to your list of things to solve.
Yeah. I'm not going to say it's not my fault.
All right. On to the next, Melvin.
Good morning. Hey, there we are. As Tim mentioned, sort of at the top, a lot of continuation funding, especially in Goal 4. Just wanted to highlight some of the things that we are anticipating undertaking in FY27. So about 2 years ago, we did a pilot project, dropping a trolley in downtown to connect a lot of the shopping retail hubs in downtown. We got really great feedback on that first year, expanded it a little bit in that second year. We're hoping to do even more with it this upcoming year, looking at some opportunities to include businesses in actually helping plan and advertise on that. We've additionally to that, we've hired a fleet of influencers to do a whole bunch of that's how you measure influencers, by the way, is by the fleet. To do a whole lot of promotion across not only our social media channels, but their own, as well as the businesses' social media channels. That has gone really well. Businesses have been very supportive of that program, and we've included those businesses in planning and every opportunity that we have. We're going to continue to support Third Thursdays. Primarily, we do that through marketing as like the influencers, signage, et cetera. We're also starting to support First Fridays, which restarted sometime last year. Kind of moving on, continuing to do workforce engagement. So through Relax at Rosa, that started up last week. Hopefully to see you all there tomorrow. Continuing to build out our data repertoire. So adding a couple of new tools in the coming year to round out the Vitals report that you all see on a monthly basis. Continuing with our grant activities, window activation grants that are tied to World of Winter, as well as experiential retail grants that allow businesses opportunities to plan events to drive foot traffic, as well as the retail attraction retention and incubation grant for bringing in new businesses, and then continuing funding for our partnership with Arts Marketplace and People First Economy through the Downtown Retail Incubation Program. That's a high-level overview of the stuff that we're doing. I'm happy to take any questions you all might have. Great.
Just saying.
I thought you said of the trolley, and I was
love
like,
the
oh, where are we
trolley.
going with the trolley? Yes, it was, Lauren did a great job activating the trolley last year. It was well received by everybody, so hoping to do more of that this year. All right,
Any
thank you
other
all.
comments or questions? All right.
All right, I think last goal here. Kimbo, you're gonna start off?
Kimbo reporting to duty.
Sorry. Ms. Van Driel.
Office nickname, you know. Thanks, TK. Goal 5 has a lot of different programs that we offer, a lot of different buckets, but we manage our downtown ambassadors through the Goal 5 and our clean and safe beautification programs, downtown tree plantings, all of the beautification good stuff. We also have a lot of events, so Return to the River coming up in August, so gearing up for that. Of course, World of Winter, and then planning for one-off events that may happen, like Olympics or things like that, soccer, also holiday decor, and then all of our activation programs. Katie runs our Activate grant, which continues to grow every year. It's extremely successful, and I get a lot of calls from other downtowns trying to learn how we do that because it is so successful. So we are focusing on that, and then murals and activations through public art. We've been in talks with the Public Museum on a permanent installation on the front plaza, which activates and moves our public art initiative, murals for Hartside Historic, as well as potential for murals on or inline square area that we've been talking about. So continuing those programs, our downtown play downtown games. So we have games located all throughout like Monroe Center. We activate them for events, and then like Relax at Rosa, and teaming up with some other organizers like the Graham for their outdoor series. And then we have big infrastructure, which I think I will play Mark Miller. So we're the big exciting projects that we have coming up, River Hill Network, Calder Plaza, and investments in Las Conchas. I think maybe you've seen, but our social media posts just recently with Corey's work at Las Conchas and the new turf, which really does look beautiful. So hopefully some new amenities that offer new places to play downtown. And that's kind of a...
The portion you see here, so obviously the same picture as the prior one, this is focused on finishing the design of the hill and the stairs. But that's a sort of separate piece from the realignment that's going on. So just that addition.
I didn't play Mark well enough.
No, you did great.
Sorry about that.
He would be very proud.
Thank you, Ms. Kimbo.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ken. So that's the budget presentation. The formal request is for you to recommend it to the City Commission for their consideration next week. It would come back to you again for adoption in June. And then also just want to point out, this is our projection for where we think things are going to go in the year ahead. Obviously, we come back to you for authorization of projects funding, anything over $15,000. So you'll be seeing a lot more of this in the fiscal year ahead.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I love seeing pictures because they help me worry about things. If we could see those 4 crosswalks, there's no indications of flashers there.
You're looking at here.
Yeah, that's going to be a major cultural shift for people driving that path.
Yeah.
If you want them to stop for pedestrians, you're going to have to make it really, we need more like what we got in front of DeVos Center, like real flashers, and not just on the side of the road, but that arch over the roadway, if you want to keep those folks safe. So I'd love to, and that's more money, but like, I think if we're going to do that, that's got to be part of the plan.
Good point.
All right. Anything else? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to recommend this budget to the City Commission.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Executive Director report. Mr. Staff?
Thank you, and just a thank you to staff and everyone that worked on that budget. There's a lot that goes into the 15-minute presentation you just got, so thanks everyone for that. We've touched on, I think, all of this stuff, so I'll move quickly, but we were excited to celebrate the grand opening of the museum Riverfront a few weeks back. I'm hiding in the back there, right next to Mary LeGrand, but great event. Even though it had to move inside, we had a lot of fun, and it's great to see that space open up. Another thing to put on your radar, the DDA did invest in the Rapid Central Station Early Childhood Center that'll be opening up in June, so we'll be excited to see that space open up here shortly. There's a concert on Friday you may have heard about. So there was actually, the first concert was on Saturday. I think it was a contractors appreciation event. Looks like it went off without a hitch and everyone had a great time and the venue's looking amazing. So very excited to see this opening this week. There's a lot of behind the scenes work happening, but nonetheless, it's going to be a great event. You saw the riverfront pictures in Andy's presentation, but just want to continue to highlight that public space and park is going to be open up here soon. And again, just a wild transformation from where this was 2 years ago with the storage of trash and everything else that was there. Across the river, soccer stadium continues. There's a topping off ceremony, I think, coming up in a couple weeks that you may have gotten an invitation to. Hopefully you did. Progress continues there. We have a good line of communication with ACGR and thinking about some activation over at Las Conchas. Kim mentioned the World Cup is coming up this summer, so we see a great opportunity to kind of build some energy around soccer in West Michigan and be a partner in that work. And then we continue to have discussions with Rockford on the residential development site just to the north there. So that work is happening. We'll hopefully be giving you a report here in the next couple months. And then because it's summertime and moving into summertime, just a slew of events on the calendar. We have a ribbon cutting for our latest Women's Way project that is over by the museum school at State and Jefferson, Etta Smith Wilson. The Studio Park Sunset Cinema is coming back, and I think the movies have all been voted on and scheduled coming out soon. Wanted to point out the Studio Park is also going to be doing events on amphitheater nights, so that'll be a sort of like a central hub for folks to go to before the show. And then our West Side Wednesdays, I think Lauren touched on this, but those kick off in June and will run through September. Just a way to get folks out in the community. And Relaxa Rosa started last week. We got another one tomorrow. Weather looks good. So come out, and we do have a little bit of swag that we'll get to you as soon as the meeting wraps. And I think those are my comments, but I'm happy to take any questions that folks have.
Any questions for Tim? All right. Next is public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to step forward, now's your opportunity. Seeing none. Board discussion. Any love to be had? Mr. Al?
I just have a couple quick things. So one, we did celebrate a groundbreaking for the Northland Tunnel last week, which is kind of a major piece of the Greenway as far as moving people safely across Northland Drive. So that was pretty exciting to see that just about to start now. Second, I'll just give my apologies in advance, but I sit on the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission. Their most important meeting of the year is the same day in June that I have my meetings here in Smart Zone and Grand River Network. And we approve all the indigent defense plans statewide for all the counties. It's a long day, so I'm going to have to miss that day.
You're asking for grace. Good call. Anybody else?
Well, I just want to point out that I got the run of show for the amphitheater opening ceremonies, and technically Lionel Richie is opening for me.
Are you introducing him?
He's handing off the mic to me. I'm going to say Lionel Richie's opening for me.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned. Hello.